Are we? Are we at 30 likes?
Yeah.
All right, listen, I was going to go in on you motherfuckers, but listen, I appreciate everyone who's tapping the like button. I also appreciate everyone who's hitting the subscribe button on these guys because this is not easy to do, okay? This is a lot of work and it's not fucking easy. So please, guys, if you're watching this podcast, you're not hitting the subscribe button, you should question yourself. I'm dead serious. Hit the subscribe button for these two guys. That's all I got to say.
Damn, I appreciate that.
I appreciate you. I'm glad I stuck around. I'm glad I'm still learning. I'm glad I'm glad I can inspire people. I'm glad I can do and be a voice and, give my opinion and help people and, and keep growing as I do. And, it's awesome. It's awesome knowing that people can benefit from me and learn and it's such a great thing.
Flexin', flexin', I be flexin', flexin' and finessing. Flexin', flexin', I be flexin', flexin' and finessing. Flexin' and finessing, I be flexin' and finessing. Yeah, flexin' and finessing, I be flexin' and finessing. Flexin' and finessing, I be flexin'.
Oh, we live. What's up, guys? Welcome to Sexin and Flexin Saturday Night Live. Got my co-host Levi, and we got Nick from Unlimited Exotic.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Nick? How's it going down there, man?
Good. It's cold.
It's cold right here.
That intro is pretty dope, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, he made that. I'll give it to him.
Well, you helped edit it. It makes sense.
So what's up, Nick? Tell us about yourself.
So, most of you guys that know me, I do a lot of big lizards and stuff like that. I always loved monitors my entire life, so that's mostly what we work with now. With everything, you try to kind of have variety, so we do some smaller stuff like geckos, skinks, but my love is in the monitors, man. Monitors and cyclera is where it's at, for sure.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Been doing animals my whole life. I kind of grew up on a farm, so I always been around animals. My dad is obsessed with animals, so it's part of me. I've tried to get out of it a few times. It doesn't work. I always get roped back in.
Fair enough.
Yep.
So, with the farm experience, does that help out with the reptiles overall? Does it give you a lot, more of an edge up?
Believe it or not, all animals are kind of the same. They talk to you in a way, they don't talk like we do, but all animals talk to you in a way that they can. And it definitely helped with all the reptiles, because I probably didn't get into the reptiles I kept snakes and stuff when I was younger, but I didn't get into the reptiles probably till I was 12 or 13. So I had an idea of how to take care of animals before actually diving into the reptiles, but the reptiles now are the biggest thing that we do. We have horses, emus, ostriches, pigeons, sheep, all stuff like that, but the majority of our animals is reptiles.
Awesome.
Yep.
Sorry, it sounds like we're having an audio issue. I'm texting somebody about it right now.
Let me know if it's me.
Yeah, they're saying they hear something, but I don't know what they're hearing. So, hey, John, Super Serpents, you hear anything going on?
They're saying you're coming in muffled, Nick.
I am.
Yeah.
Let me see.
See, Carver says we sounded okay. Nick sounds fine on my end. Zach, bro. Did we all sound good? Did we sound all right? Talk, Nick? Oh, you muted.
Yeah, Nick, you muted.
No, I'm at work. My daughter. You're still muted, Nick. Sorry.
says your mic is disconnected.
There it is. Yep.
There we go.
So you're in a closet, I hear.
Yeah, I'm at closet at the work, bro. I had to clock out just to do this.
No doubt.
Hashtag
That's dedication right there.
Bro, I was like, man, I got to do this show regardless, bro. Like I was telling you in backstage, like,
Yep.
I'm going to do this because I want this to happen. And I told Levi, we're going to go somewhere. We're going to go somewhere that I got to make time for it. And I was like, I'm going to clock out, do the hour, and I'll stay after and do my hour, make it up, whatever. I don't care.
Yep. That's dedication. You got to do it, man. That's like me too. It's hard for me to do podcasts and stuff like this because I'm not one to talk about myself. I'm a listener. I go places. I've been to a lot of breeders and stuff like that, and I just like to listen to them talk. I'm not a big talker myself, so this stuff's hard, but if you're going to do it, you got to go all out, right? So you got to do every aspect of it. So that's why I'm here with you guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So back to that question. So animals in general, you believe are all relatively the same? We're gonna, go through the same stuff.
Yeah, it's all about listening to the animal. That's the biggest thing I believe with caring for anything is you got to be able to observe them and let them talk to you in the way that they can. And obviously every animal is different. Every care of you're not going to care for a horse the same way you're going to care for an iguana. It's just not going to happen. But if you are in tune with animals and you can learn more about them and listen to them, you could take care of anything. I mean, growing up, I had monkeys. You could listen to anything.
Monkeys?
That's awesome. You have monkeys.
Oh, my family's nuts, man. It's not just me. I couldn't do it without my family and my fiance. We all love animals. It's just you see my face more on social media and stuff like that because I'm the guy that does that. But we're all caring for stuff every day. So without them, I wouldn't be here.
So is your family like camera shy, or they just don't want to be on camera or nothing like that?
They're not camera shy. They do their own thing. They take care of the animals. I guess it's not really a chore to them, but they just do it and go on in their lives. I'm the one that kind of dove all the way into it. And my dad's not an internet guy at all. He's new to Facebook as of like last year. So he doesn't do that stuff. He cares about the animals and that's it. He doesn't want any representation or anything like that. So I try to blow his work out there and show everybody what he's doing.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yep.
So on the monitors, man, you kind of broke up the farm tradition there, eh?
Yeah. I just always loved the big stuff. I grew up around iguanas. My dad had green iguanas and stuff like that growing up, and I remember when I started, somebody I looked up to hugely and still do is Ty Park. And when I saw him with all the rhino iguanas, I'm like, man, I got to get down there and see these things. And I did, and that's when I started talking to him, and I bought a lot of iguanas from him. And I still have a lot of the first ones that I bought from him. And that's what started the whole drive with the big animals. And obviously, when I look at monitors, they're like top tier. Like if you're going to keep reptiles, something that's in tune with you, something that's intelligent, it's monitors. They pick up on everything you're doing. They learn, they study things. And I've never had an interaction like that with any other reptile. So to me, that's top tier. And I feel like I'm there now. And this is my first year actually breeding monitors. And that's what I've been shooting for since I was 13. So I finally feel like this is my year to start moving forward and doing what I want to do.
That's awesome. Yeah. Super badass.
Thanks.
So what monitors are you working with?
This year I bred Coming Eye. That was my first breeding. I did it 3 times last year and this year. And then I have 3 clutches of black dragons in the incubator now. And I'm working on my next project is a new Collis, Brandis new Collis. And then I'm going to work on my laces. My laces I bought as babies from Brian Waterloo, and my other ones are unknown origin. But I have 2 pairs that I'm raising up, and those are my next 2 projects. And I'm really trying to take one species at a time because it can get overloading. Everyone's different, and if you're not paying attention to what they're telling you, like I said, you're not going to breed them. It's not something like I'm not knocking on gecko breeders because I am one. I'm not knocking on ball python breeders at all. But it's not something you could just pair. It's something you got to watch every little step and really focus on what they're doing. Because if you skip a step, you might as well just kiss it goodbye. So that's why to me it's top tier, because if you miss anything, it's game over.
I agree.
That sounds rough, honestly.
It's not fun, man. And then on top of that, once you get eggs, you feel like you're accomplished. You have to wait 200 days plus until they hatch. So it's not easy.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yep.
So tell us more about the breeding process with the monitors. What are you seeing? What are you observing there?
What I'm observing there is I keep all my monitors separate. If I don't know if anybody here has seen my page and the new enclosures that I've built, but I built most of my enclosures around 12 foot. So each individual monitor is in its own enclosure, and they're completely separate. I cool them down and let them get not skinny, but a lot less weight than they normally have on them. And then I start bringing them both up slowly and feeding them heavily and cranking the heat. With monitors, it's heat. It's mostly all about heat. You have to get them up to 120 to 140 degrees in a basking spot, 85 ambient. And then you're watching for the female to start swelling. She's going to start cycling. And that's when you start pairing a male and let him do his thing. Once you pair them almost immediately, you can tell how it's going to go. And with males, they'll start going in there and they'll start head twitching and smelling the female. And it's usually a chase from there. And in my breeding I've been doing so far, you'll see the male almost lock instantly. And I know that's not in every case, but in my case, the same day I pair them, they usually start breeding. So that's what I'm looking for, is just really the biggest thing is the female cycling. You got to watch for that first before everything else falls into play. And that's kind of self-induced. You're kind of controlling that. As long as you're controlling their environment, you're kind of controlling their cycling. So it's really all in your hands, but you got to watch all those steps, like I said.
Hello, Chris. You're on mute, bro.
I'm on mute?
No, Levi.
Oh, I was like, I can't hear anything.
He's talking, but we can't hear you, Levi.
Now I can.
Now you can talk.
There, god damn it. Stupid. Anyways, where is it? I'm trying to pull up your enclosures on a separate screen. Or what did I just say behind the scenes? Hold on, time out. Okay, so it's a lot more complicated pairing up a monitor pairing up monitors than it is pairing up we'll say a set of ball pythons. You throw the male or the female in there together, close the tub, let them do their thing, separate them. It's not anywhere near as simple as that.
No,
you got a lot more steps.
And as a person, I like a challenge. So I think that's the biggest thing of why I gravitated towards monitors. Because when I first started, man, nobody was breeding monitors. I mean, there was a select maybe 3 people, but it was just kind of unheard of. So I was like, one day I'm going to get to that point. And that's what really drove me there. And it's not easy. I did it for the first time after trying for probably, 8 years. I did it for the first time last year. And honestly, the first time was kind of luck, but I think that's with everything. You have a lucky moment and you picked up on every little thing as you go. And then with the Black Dragons, I implemented everything that I learned and it worked. So now it's on to the next thing. And you just keep going. It's an addiction. You guys know that. I don't need to explain that.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I've considered getting monitors, but it's just that next level that's not. It interests me, but I'm not quite there yet. Once I master my retake, then I'll think about the next step up from something big.
Yep.
So as far as working with the monitors go, man, what would you agree that it's a cold-blooded dog?
It definitely is, 100%. If I were to say there's anything more than a cold-blooded dog, it would be a rhino iguana. Mine literally come on command. They listen. I've trained my one to pick his butt up in the air, so when I scratch him, they're insane, man. There's nothing like a rhino iguana if you want a scaly pet like that, like a scaly dog. I left mine out in my room my whole time growing up.
I'm like, that's amazing,
He'd sit
bro.
on my bed. Yep.
That's awesome. That's phenomenal, man. So I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here and say the rhino iguana is your favorite.
That's a hard one because I have my buddy Blue that I've raised since she was a hatchling. He was one of my first reptiles. But then Shadow is like, I'd say he's like the mascot of Unlimited Exotics. He's like the man. He's a 7-foot black dragon. It doesn't get any cooler than that, and he's totally tame. So it's a toss-up. Those are definitely my 2 favorite species, but I can't really say which one is. It wouldn't be fair to either one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. The favorite question always puts people on the spot.
Yep. If I had to tell anybody to get a reptile like today, like obviously not crested gecko, like maybe you're more advanced keeper, I'd be like get a rhino iguana without question. So I guess that would be my favorite then if you were to look at it that way.
Okay. Awesome. So tell us more about the rhino iguana. You got somebody in the comments that's interested in getting possibly getting into them.
Well, it's funny because when I got into them, they were really, really expensive. I mean, you were talking like $700-800 a baby, which is I guess crazy expensive, but it's not a cheap pet. And now they're actually down in like the 200s. So if they're a price of a ball python now or a bearded dragon, they're right there. So if you were to jump on one, now would be the time. This is actually my first year of getting viable eggs. So I think it's 22 eggs in the incubator right now. So I will have some within the next month. December 15th, we're looking at as a hatch date.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how big do they get?
Oof. My biggest male is probably 35 pounds. They get pretty big. It's probably like 4.5 feet.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's a big lizard there.
I think I see in the comments, yeah, he will definitely eat a bearded dragon. any of my males will definitely eat a bearded dragon. They'll eat anything. I definitely wouldn't keep them together. You couldn't really, anyway, completely different care.
And like, what is your take on cohabitation, like, with reptiles?
Certain things is totally fine. I even see it in zoos a lot too. I like to visit zoos because I travel the country for shows and for my other job too. We flip houses and stuff, so I'm all over the country and I see it in all different zoos and I have no problem with it as long as it's in the right means and it makes sense. I mean, they do it in the wild. There's no reason why they can't do it in an enclosure if it's big enough.
Okay, awesome. So they have been observed in the wild cohabitating.
Not a bearded dragon and a rhino, but
no, yeah, I bet the rhinos.
No, I don't even. They're not even from the same area, I believe. Bearded dragons and rhinos are completely different.
Yeah.
But in cohabitation in general, I definitely agree with it. You could definitely do it. I do it myself with certain things. So.
Okay, so in general, sorry.
Yeah, in general. No, it's all right.
Lost myself there for a second. So, like, do you think that applies to all reptiles or specifically the monitors, specifically certain species? Or would you say as like a, overall, as far as every reptile under the sun, that cohabitating is a possibility?
I wouldn't say everyone. I wouldn't recommend cohabitating a monitor at all. I mean, they will eat whatever fits in their mouth. And they're not going to try, like my buddy Shadow would never try to harm me. But if I were to throw an iguana in that enclosure, you could kiss it goodbye. It's not coming out. It's not coming out of that enclosure. And I'm not about that stuff. I don't feed any live. I don't like watching videos of it. So I wouldn't recommend doing it. It's definitely not something that I would do.
Okay, I feel it. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it either.
No. Definitely got to be careful. There's nothing wrong with doing it if you do your research and you see other people doing it. Like I forget when I think it was in Texas when Nicole and I went, my fiance, and they had like basilisks and caiman lizards together. There's nothing wrong with that because they're both living in the same kind of environment, same care. They even originate in the same spot. So there's nothing wrong with doing something like that. But a monitor with anything else, it's going to be history.
Okay.
Yep. It's like saying a king cobra could go with a ball python. It's not gonna work out.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Do you keep any snakes at all?
I don't. I love snakes. It's just not really my thing. I actually have a red-tailed boa right now, but I worked with New York Animal Control, and they'll call me when they find something or have somebody, and they turn that on me. A red-tailed boa that was emaciated, and I just had to get it back to health. And I'm gonna get it. I'm just gonna give it to somebody, give it a good home.
Nice. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, man. It's much appreciated.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I love doing stuff like that. That's more fun to me than the breeding or anything like that. Because you see a beginning goal, you get to work with that animal, get it up to par, and see the fairy tale story that everybody wants to see. Get into a good home. But my fiance loves ball pythons. Out of everything we have, I don't have any snakes, and she loves ball pythons for some reason. I'm like, you couldn't love a monitor, you couldn't love an iguana, a gecko, anything. The one thing we don't have, but hey, everybody has their niche. There's nothing wrong with it.
Absolutely.
And I'm just happy that I have somebody in my life that loves it as much as I do. She honestly, and I'm gonna say it now, she does more than I do with this stuff. I do the breeding and stuff, but she cares for everything meticulously. She's amazing. Couldn't do it without her. Hopefully she's watching us upstairs right now. I need some brownie points.
I feel it. So working with animal control out there in New York, how did that fall into your lap?
It's weird, man. I couldn't find a vet. I had a vet for a long time that would deal with my exotic stuff, and she retired. And I couldn't find a vet out here. In New Jersey, it's not normal to keep 8-foot monitors and all kinds of crazy stuff. So I had a problem finding one, and I found one in New York. And I went up there the first time. It was an Aldabra that I got in at a local show. And, bro, you touch this thing, you'd squeeze it like this, and it was like a soft-shell turtle. It was insane. It was just completely ill-cared for its entire life. So I brought it there, and I'm like, what could we do with this? And they helped me get it up to par, and it did amazing. And it's actually in Florida now at a friend of mine's facility. But long story short, they hooked me up with animal control. They were like, this guy takes amazing care of his animals, and we need somebody like this. When you guys get stuff in, call him. And they have ever since. I've gotten sulcata tortoises, redfoot tortoises, boas, bearded dragons. They wanted to give me rabbits, and I'm like, whoa, we gotta slow back a little bit. I don't do rabbits. But they're awesome people over there. They call me anytime they get something, and my vet hooked it up. It was just sheer luck there.
That's all. That's awesome. Have you ran into having to deal with any monitors working with animal control yet?
No, not yet. Not yet. I'm surprised, honestly, with how winters are up here, that I've had to deal with a lot of stuff that I have. But people, I don't know if it gets out or they turn it loose, but I deal with a lot of tortoises, believe it or not. Sulcatas and redfoots and stuff that's just aimlessly walking down the road. So
I honestly think people just let them out, not knowing how big they get. That's what it is.
Yep. Sadly, I think so too. But it's cool.
So what's your take on? Let's touch on that now that it's been brought up. What is your take on the situation that we face with the bigger animals? So I mean, you're into monitors. I'm into reticulated pythons. I'm sure we have a common ground of seeing these things cycle the system, being rehomed, released in unnatural situations. What's your take on that? Like, what do you see from your perspective as far as like the monitor community goes?
The monitor community, I guess you don't see it as much. I know you see it a lot with snakes, but you'd see it in like the lower end monitors, so savannas, Niles, not even really Asian water monitors anymore, but especially down south, I see that a lot. And it bothers me. Like, there's so many places that these people can bring their animals and find them a home. There's no need to turn them loose. I never understood that. That's just, they don't care about the community. They're not into it like we are. Nobody like us is going to turn an animal loose. We know way better than that. And it drives me crazy to see that stuff, but I don't think there should be the regulations that there are, like down south and stuff like that. They should totally let us keep what we want, do what we want. There is responsible people in a hobby that will do the right thing, and I believe we all do. All the people in the community, all the people I talk to at the shows, everybody like that, amazing people. They're going to do what they can for the animal, and that's really it.
Awesome, man. I feel it. I respect that a lot. So, with that being said, what's your take on USARK right now and the situations that the country's facing from state to state? I mean, shout out to Florida and the shithole mess that they're into.
Yep. Oh, I love Ozark, man. I donate anytime I can. I do all the big shows. I mean, I go out to Tinley, I go out to Anaheim, I do all that stuff. Anything I can do for Ozark, I do. They're amazing people. They're doing amazing. Everything they possibly can do, they're doing. So nothing but in the highest regard for me and everyone in my family.
Awesome. Shout out, shout out US Arc and everything that they do for us.
Yep.
Great take on it. I respect it a lot. So, man, the monitors. What projects do you got going on, man? The monitors always throw me off because I know enough about them to get away with murder, but I don't know enough in depth.
That's the same thing with me with snakes, man. So I totally get it. The monitor projects I got, or some I already mentioned, were the new Nucalus, which I believe is very important because John Dragna, he's a great friend of mine. I think he's even coming to my wedding, which is in April. He started that project, and he was the first one to do it in the States. And I don't know what happened with the whole project, but it kind of just died out. And I think I'm the biggest, if not the only one that has a full trio in the States still. I'm actually working on trying to get another female from Chris Foley. And I think that's a very important project because no one else is really working with them. But besides that, I've got the black dragons that I mentioned, the laces that I mentioned. I have a green tree project coming to me next week and a black tree project because I want to dive in more into the tree monitors. It's really the only monitors that I don't work with right now. I have a peach stroke pair. I have a ginormous croc monitor pair. Ton of dwarfs at the moment, which honestly I'm kind of trying to phase out a little bit because I feel like I'm taking on too much. And the dwarfs aren't really my thing. Like I said before, I like big animals. I don't know why it draws big animals I'm drawn to, but the dwarfs don't really do it for me. So I'm gonna kind of try to phase them out slowly, get them to good homes. I have a good friend of mine that's actually doing the trade for the tree monitors. That's going to take a lot of the Kimberly rocks that I have and stuff like that. But I have a lot of cool projects going on. One big project that I'm trying to do is create an all-white monitor, all-white water monitor, which I have a few small keys that I think other people haven't really thought about that I'm not going to say quite yet. But hopefully within the next year I can prove that out, but we'll see.
That would be awesome, man. You'd have an answer to the black dragon.
Yep. Then pair those two. Pair an all-white monitor with an all-black. Might get some pied action going on.
Hell yeah, that's sick.
Yep.
Oh man! So you brought up a fan favorite that's talked about a lot in our little community that we have here, the lace monitors. How many do you have, and do you have them going this year?
I have two pairs. My youngest pair I just got from Brian Waterloo last year. They grow very fast. Anybody that knows lace monitors, feels like every time you look at them, they're bigger, but they are not ready yet. My bigger pair is probably next year. We'll be looking at pairing them. I have two pairs. I have two male bells and two female normals. So
awesome.
Yep. Awesome. Definitely would love to grab more. They're definitely up there with my favorite monitors for sure.
Yeah, they're incredible, man. Fry over at Fry's Critters had one for a little bit there. I want to say he rehomed it. Could be wrong. Okay. But getting to watch him interact with that monitor was incredible, man. Just a little bit that he was able to. Yep.
So smart as anything, man. They pick up on everything. I literally open their enclosure. I have a 3-foot window that I get in and out of the enclosure, and I just tap on the window. He picks his head up from a dead sleep and comes right to the window and sits there and waits for me to give him a rat. That's how smart they are. Comes right to the window and sits there patiently. It's crazy.
That's awesome. That's incredible.
Yep.
Fuck, I need to get my retic to do that.
That might be a little more challenging because I know that took me a ton of time just to do that.
Bro, I need a croc monitor too. That thing is dope.
Yep. Yeah, my female's 7 foot, man. She's insane. Absolutely incredible.
I also want the lace monitor.
Yeah,
and
cool.
that green one. What's that green one called? The
green tree?
Is it the green tree?
What, the tree monitor?
Is it little? I thought they got
arboreal.
Yeah, it's arboreal.
Oh.
No, they only get I'd say 3.5 feet tops. It's mostly tail, like any tree monitor.
So as far as like the arboreal species and you wanting to get into them, what's like kept you back from like diving head into the arboreals?
The arboreals, again, it's that little syndrome. I like big stuff, and a lot of tree monitors don't get that big. You get the laces and the Crocs, and I had those because I knew they got big. I got those instantly. But I've always loved water monitors, man. I don't know what it is, and a lot of people don't like them. A lot of people that were in water monitors are now gravitating towards tree monitors because simply they're a lot more work. A tree monitor is arboreal. They don't need a huge water bowl. You don't need to do water changes once a week, sometimes even more than that, because water monitors go to the bathroom in their water bowls. They're disgusting animals, but a lot of people don't want to deal with all that, and I don't mind it. If you do it like Mike Stefani, Mike Stefani's my uncle. I call him my uncle. He's like my mentor, and if you do it like him, where everything's on a drain system, it makes it so simple. It's no different than keeping anything else, and that's the level that we want to get to. I got the enclosures down. Now it's just improvising all the little stuff, and I got to do all the drain systems and all that next. But
awesome.
Yep.
I was trying to pull your enclosures up, but my computer's being retarded. So
no, that's all right. My mind has been doing the same thing all day.
Yeah, it's like as soon as it's showtime, technology decides to take a crap.
Mm-hmm. Every time.
So, an interesting subject that was brought to my attention prior to this live. How do you feel about the monitors being in these little enclosures during the shows? Do you think it's a good thing? You think it's a bad thing? What's your take?
My take, it's a little on the shows and stuff like that. At Expo, there's only so much you could do. You can't, like people like me, like if I go to Tinley, it's a 13-hour drive. So yeah, I can't expect to bring a 12-foot enclosure to a show. So the shows, you got to give people a little leeway. It doesn't bother me that much as long as they're not crammed in like a tiny deli cup where they can't turn around. You kind of got to almost look past it. It's only a temporary thing. But if you're keeping your 8-foot monitor in a vision cage, that kind of drives me insane. And I see that a lot. If you put that much money into a monitor, into your animal, you should put like 4 times that into your enclosure. And that's how I look at it. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people don't have the space, but if you don't have the space, you shouldn't have the animal. Like if you want an Asian water monitor, you better have a 10-foot enclosure at least. And that's my take on it. A lot of people will probably give you crap for that, but they shouldn't be in a small cage, man. If you watch them, you got to keep them like Camp Kennan, like how he has Slinky. That's how they should be kept, and that's how I want to be one day. Getting there slowly. I just finished that facility, and we're already moving on to the next. I might be moving within the next couple months to a bigger place, but got to keep pushing. Got to keep pushing and grinding. That's how it goes. Can never stop.
I concur. 100%.
That's why I tell Levi, like, we're gonna do this. We gotta grind.
Yep. Just got to keep your head down and moving. That's how you got to do it.
Absolutely. It feels like husbandry is becoming it's becoming a hot subject throughout the entire reptile community. It's no longer in just snakes or just monitors. When you're looking at, let's say somebody bought a couple Asian water monitors and they come to you and they're like, hey, what can I do to take my husbandry to the next level? What advice would you give that person?
My advice would be, it's not for everybody. It's kind of hard to say for everyone, but I build all my enclosures, man. I think that's the best way. You can't really go buy any enclosure for a monitor like that. If you're buying a baby Asian water monitor, okay, you can get away with a 4-foot PVC enclosure for a little while, but they grow so fast. In a year, you're going to need to build something or hire someone to build something. So that's my best advice, is either have someone build it first or build it yourself first. Before you even think about getting a monitor, you should have its first enclosure and its second. That's the best advice I would give to anyone. And that's the advice I give to everybody that when I sell babies. I want to see your enclosure before I sell your animal, because to me, it's not about the money. I don't do this for money. If anybody that does this, that it's not really a profitable thing. You can make money, don't get me wrong, but you're gonna lose your butt a few times before you do. And it's not about the money for me, man. I want to see these animals do good, and I want to make a name and a legacy for myself and my family. That's what I'm doing it for.
Respect. That's awesome, man.
Yep.
So as far as as far as like the monitors themselves go, the husbandry, the care, would you say it's easier working with them than bigger snakes from the big snakes that you know of? Or would you say that the bigger snakes are easy? Is to like try to, I know there's a lot of snake keepers in here, to give them a comparison as to what you're seeing in your mind and, you know, something to relate on.
It's hard because I don't know enough about like big snakes, but from what I've been to Brian Barczyk's place, to the Reptarium. If you're going to keep them like that, I'd say if you're going to keep it to his level, they're almost on the same playing field. His reticulated enclosures are almost the same as something I'd keep a monitor in. So they're pretty equal in that aspect, but the problem is a lot of people don't keep snakes in the same level that Barczyk would keep them. You know what I mean? So that's a whole nother subject, but I'd say a monitor is probably harder to keep in that way, because there's no possible way you could keep not that you're going to keep a big snake in a slide box, but there's no way to keep a big monitor in a vision cage and it be healthy. There's no way.
Respect.
That's true. But you didn't say right there, like if you're going to buy a big monitor or whatever it is, whatever animal it is, to have the closure set up before you even buy the animal.
Yep, 100%.
So what's your take? I remember, I can't remember. It was probably about a year ago. It was a hot subject in a lot of communities I was seeing inside of like my local Facebook groups, and then some outside ones that, you know, some monitor people I follow that are local. How do you feel about like free roaming animals, where they have an open enclosure, they can come and go as they please, almost exactly like a dog, and it's doghouse.
Like I said before, I don't think there's anything wrong with it as long as it's responsible. It shouldn't be something that's access to outside just for the reasons we talked about before, something getting out. But when I was growing up, I kept a rhino iguana in my bedroom, and he had an enclosure, but he would come in and out as he pleased. And I'd literally come home from school or work, and he'd be sitting on my bed. And in that aspect, I don't think it's bad, but you have to be careful with how you're going to do it. There's nothing wrong with free roaming an animal as long as it's kept inside, I think. We don't need anything else getting out.
No, absolutely not. We actually have a Nile running around Tucson out here. It's a good time. Man. Game and Fish is like working their asses off trying to catch it, but it's so elusive. It's in such an elusive spot, man. I can only imagine.
Yep. I saw last year somebody had a Doom Rolls monitor get out, and I was dying for a male. I'm like, please, somebody catch this thing and send it my way. Like, I need this thing. It's going to happen, man, no matter what. And that's what people need to realize is animals are going to escape. That's what they do. They want to be out. So you got to be able to build those cages properly or don't have them. And I don't know. If you notice, the stuff that gets out is you're not seeing lace monitors running. You're not seeing croc monitors running around. You're not seeing rhino ones running around, because the people that keep those you need a lot of money or a lot of knowledge to keep those. And those are usually the people that have been in the community are like us. Your normal person isn't going to dive into an animal and be like, oh, I need a croc monitor. It's people that are in the community. You never see that stuff running around because people don't want to lose their $3,000 monitor. It's the lower end of animals, the people that don't know about animals, the people that are inexperienced, the people that don't care as much as we do that are running around. It's stuff like that. Nile monitors, Savannah monitors, sulcata tortoises, all stuff that you can get cheap. That's the stuff that you see roaming around. That's what people I seem to notice. It's not animal people letting this stuff go. It's people that, I want a Nile monitor today and tomorrow I don't. It's those kind of people.
Absolutely. So what, this is another hot subject that's been around for a long time. What would your answer be to like help steer that issue away from the community in general? Would you say like upping the prices of these animals? Because you go to
that's really the only thing you could do, man, because you're not going to stop importing, and there's nothing wrong with importing. I have imported animals. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I have friends that are importers, and without them, we wouldn't be here right now. That's a whole nother subject that I could get in on. But the best thing you can do is raise the price. You're not going to get rid of it. You're not going to stop it. So you got to up the price on these Niles and these sulcatas. So if these people really want to get into it, they're going to think twice. It's just like a rescue dog. If you're giving away dogs for $50, people have no problem about losing $50, but they're going to have a problem with losing $800, $900. I got a rescue pit bull. I have 5 dogs. My parents have 10, and my rescue pit bull that they made me pay a $700 fee, and I was totally fine with it because I get it.
Respect. Mad respect on that one.
Yeah.
Shout out Nick and rescuing a pit bull first and foremost, and that price tag is insane, man. I don't think I've ever heard of that before. So,
welcome to New Jersey and PA. They're great states.
And how long you been in the community, Nick?
In the reptile community?
Yeah.
I vended my first show when I was 14. I started going to shows with my dad when I was probably 12 or 13. And when I really didn't understand the community, I'll be completely honest, because when I first got into it, I started with the lower end monitors, Niles, stuff like that. And I posted my first Nile for sale on Fauna Classifieds. And the caging I was keeping it in honestly wasn't the best because I didn't know. I did just like everybody else. You get an animal and then you figure it out when you first start. And I got ripped apart for it. So I'm like, man, these people aren't really nice. I don't know if I should be doing this. And I didn't really get it. So once I started getting in the community, it's probably around 18 or 19. And I started going to the shows and I started making friendships with people. And I really started understanding that there's more than just the animals. There's amazing people in this hobby. And I'm starting to appreciate that more now. So to answer your question, I've been in a hobby probably for about like 14 years, I'd say. I kind of laid low for a while, kind of figured it out. And I'd say this is my first real year where I'm getting out there and really showing myself and showing all the breeding and work that we've all been putting into it.
Well, welcome in.
Thanks, man.
It's awesome. You've said a lot of good things tonight, man. It's carry yourself very well.
Appreciate it.
Coming into like the mainstream and having the aspects and the outlooks that you do, mad respect.
Thanks, man.
Supporting U.S. art, that's always something we all have to do. I don't think we have an option at this point.
No, we definitely don't.
So I'm curious, man. Out of all the lizards that you listed off tonight, tegus aren't in there.
Funny enough, I got to find a picture. I'll send it to you. The first thing that I started with, before the rhinos, all that, I had a crazy tegu collection. I didn't even want to breed them. I just wanted to have every morph. So I had amethyst, I had blues, I had reds, I had a huge Argentine that was absolutely massive. I had Chicoan, I think it is the biggest. I had a Chicoan. It was all in my bedroom. It was all custom built enclosures. You couldn't even get in my bed. It was surrounded by tegu enclosures.
Wow. Okay.
I had to literally climb over enclosures to get in my bed.
That's awesome.
I love tegus. I have mad respect for them, but just in, I guess, the business outlook of it, it doesn't make sense for me right now. And it's not really my passion anymore.
Fair enough. We see it. We see that a lot in the snake community where somebody will get started on something and, lose the true passion behind it and then let it move on to somebody that does have that passion.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I love them. We talked a lot about monitors tonight, but I have a huge blue tongue collection, huge gecko collection. Now we're starting to get a pretty big snake collection. And I have two facilities. I have the one at my parents' farm. And I just bought a house out here in Pennsylvania where we're going to do a lot of Gilas and beateds and a lot of Shinosaurus, stuff like that. A lot of the oddity stuff that a lot of people aren't working with. And I love all kinds of reptiles, man. It's not just monitors for me. I know that's what I generally talk about, but like I said, it's my passion. I just could talk about them all day, but I love all reptiles. Maybe one day I'll dive back into the tegus, but for me, not right now. Got too many other plants.
Fair enough.
Blue tongue skinks?
Yeah, I have a lot of blue tongue skinks. I have ivories. I just got the ivories in Schaumburg a little while ago, but I have T positives. I have a lot of northerns, some easterns too. They're cool, man. Right. Very cool. Another pet I'd recommend to anybody. I would give that to one of my 10-year-old nephews. They're amazing pets.
Hey, Nick, I agree. So I'm gonna do a timeout real quick. I'm working, and if you see my camera going in and out, I'm sorry, guys. It's just me because I'm at work. But as well, we're only gonna go the hour and a half tonight, and then we're gonna have to reschedule again when I'm out of work, so we can go a little bit longer.
No doubt, man. I'm ready anytime.
It's only because I'm at work and they're not giving me much time to work with here. So I just don't want to feel like we're rushing you off and everything or nothing like that. It's nothing like that. Just
not at all, man. Keep grinding. Got to keep doing you. I do it too. I work 2 other jobs besides the reptile, so I totally understand. I'm sure everybody else here does too.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there. That's why I keep, screen off.
Yep.
But all right, go ahead, Lito.
So, real quick, now you got my curiosity peaked. What all species do you work with, like from top to bottom? No exclusion of anything.
Are we talking just reptiles?
Reptiles, yeah. We'll keep it at reptiles. And then if we got time, we'll throw the mammals in there because I'm interested in that too. The fact that you live on a farm.
Yeah,
it's intriguing.
Right now, I got to really go through all the cages. Like I listed all the monitors for the most part. I have rhinos, Lewisii. I have some Xenogama species. I have a lot of chameleons. That's actually the thing my dad started with. We did panther chameleons for a long time, and it just got crazy. We had like 300 babies at once, and I got overwhelmed. I'm like, Dad, I got to step away from the chameleons. I can't do it anymore. But we still have a lot of chameleons. We have owslet chameleons, a crazy amount of geckos. We're hatching babies every day between lychees, Sarasorum, cresteds, gargs. We just got into the Urodactylus. Which are the little tiny dwarf ones, the agricoli, stuff like that. I have, like I said, a lot of blue tongues. And I think that, I have, behind me is a huge, I don't know if you guys could see it. The lighting's terrible in here, but I have armadillo lizards. This is my living room. And there's armadillo lizards back in there, a whole colony of them. I think I have a couple gravid females in there. But
that's cool.
Yeah. It's kind of hard. I'm trying to show you, but the lighting's terrible, like I said.
Is that built into your wall?
Yeah, I built it into my wall when I built the house.
That's
awesome.
It's dope. Hell yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do on the side is I flip and build houses. So as I was doing this one, I was like, I'm going to build a fish tank in my living room.
That's it. Oh, that's it.
I had Kimberly rocks in there, but I wanted something that was kind of more. It's hard in a tank like that because it's a 300-gallon tank. I don't like using fish tanks, but for that instance with a small lizard, it doesn't really matter. But when I had the Kims in there, when they were laying eggs, I couldn't get to them because they were laying them underneath the rocks and it was a pain. But with the armadillo lizards, they're live birth. So if they ever have babies, I'll just see them running around in there and pull them out.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So real quick, what's your take on bioactive enclosures? Is that even an option with the species that you work with?
Monitors, it's not really possible. I've tried live plants. I've put palm trees in my enclosures. They shred anything, man. There's nothing in a monitor enclosure that could be bioactive. But that's bioactive behind me. I wish I could show you guys, but if I move, this whole thing's going to just collapse. So I wish I could move my computer and show you. But that whole thing's got flowers in it, pothos plants. That whole thing's bioactive. So when I can, I love to do it. I mean, my good buddy Justin Munsterman at Legacy Herbs, you guys should check him out. He does some crazy bioactive stuff. I mean, he's the man when it comes to that stuff. And he's breeding species that you've never even heard of before.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Yep.
Come on, that's amazing. Hell yeah.
Yep.
And what was his link?
And Legacy Herbs is Justin Munsterman.
Oh, so go get it.
I just texted Eden. I said plug him.
He's like we're actually all good friends with Armin at Herb Time. Armin's a man too. He's another somebody. I wish I could do the stuff he does, but like I said, I can't do that with monitors and stuff. They'll just destroy it. It's a waste of money. I've tried to do it before. I've spent thousands on palm trees that they just shredded. So learn my lesson there.
Fair enough, man. Yeah, that's I hear that a lot with the bigger species of snakes too. That you just roll them over, knock them over.
Yep.
Kind of like an inside joke here, but not really at the same time. I see on social media a lot that people keep tegus, and I seen a savanna the other day inside of these grow tents. What's your take on that?
That's a hard one because I understand it. If tegu, I don't agree with it. I'm sorry, people probably give me crap for that, but I don't agree with keeping a big animal in a grow tent. If you're gonna keep, like I know another guy that keeps like basilics, And smaller species like Natal's horn dragon, stuff like that, that I could understand because they're a pretty seclusive species to begin with. So they want the four walls. They're going to do better. They're going to probably breed in the four walls. So that I could totally understand. But there's really no reason to keep a tegu in a grow tent, man. You could just go build something yourself or hire someone. It won't cost that much. You probably spend just as much on a grow tent.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I was intrigued by it. I've seen I don't know, probably 5-6 videos on it, and it's intriguing for sure. And I didn't know, I've never kept tegus. I know people that keep them, and it like made sense in my head, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't like it, man. I see it all the time, and like I said, with the smaller species, yeah, I've kept them and stuff like that myself. Like I had Natal's horn dragons. I love agamids. I always have. I have Australian water dragons now, and I would keep them in a grow tent if it was available to me. But the tegu, it just doesn't make sense. I can't make it make sense in my mind. I'd have to go build something.
Fair enough. So it's been one of those nights, folks. I will be right back in just a second.
No problem.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what's going on. Anyway.
He's going to get a grow tent for some tegus.
Is that what he said?
No.
Oh,
he said it's being one of those nights.
Oh, yeah. I guess it's not, his stomach's not feeling good or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I hear that. I get
Bro, I don't know. But I don't even know what these grow tents are, man.
They're weird.
I
They're
hear
used
them
to
a lot,
grow
and I see
plants
people-
and stuff like that. I can't see keeping a big animal in one, but
some people do. Like I've seen them on like Instagram. There's this one person I follow. She keeps a tegu in it. So I guess they're good for tegus.
I don't really think they'd be good for tegus. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm not knocking anybody for doing it, but I don't like it. I would rather, I could see it for like a small lizard, like I said, but I even know a guy that keeps sailfin dragons in them. And that makes sense because sailfins, they don't like to see a lot of movement. They get freaked out anytime they see somebody. So they want total seclusion. They, like I said, they want the four walls. Like they want to feel confined. So that would make sense. But a tegu wants to roam, man. They want to move at all times. So I can't justify that for that species, but they definitely make sense for some. Don't get me wrong. You could definitely use them for certain things. I just can't see it with that stuff.
And what about like iguanas or stuff like that?
Iguanas, it's kind of hard. If you were going to keep like a smaller one, like a pectinata or a spiny tail iguana, yeah, I could see that. But a big green iguana, don't get me wrong, there's worse things you can keep them in. If somebody really doesn't have a ton of money and they want to keep a green iguana or they have a rehomed green iguana, sure, I could see that. But again, there's so many other things that you could keep them in that could be better. I built enclosures, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, out of doors. Like I went to Home Depot and I got screen doors and I screwed 4 screen doors together and I made a top and bottom and they were awesome. They were awesome enclosures. I had them natal horn dragons in there, mountain horn dragons, and they were perfect. And it only probably cost me, I think it was like $215. It's just as much as a grow tent. And there were simply just doors. It literally took me 10 minutes to make each one.
Yeah, all right.
Yep.
I don't know. That's what Levi wanted. He wanted a grow tent. I don't know what for.
He wants to get a tegu. He's on a tegu kick.
No, and I will have you, Chris. There is a person out there successfully making this operation work, and I am keeping up on it step by step, sir. A tegu and a snake are two very different things. Thank you.
It was laptop message me.
I don't know. In theory, it might work. In theory, it might be a catastrophe. We don't know because not many have tried it.
I know people that have made it work, but I think there's better ways. I'm not saying it wouldn't work. I'm not knocking anybody that does it either. Because I've seen people keep stuff in way worse than that. So I'm not saying it's bad. I just know there's better options.
my take on it is, as they're growing into adulthood, I don't see it becoming a massive issue until they hit that 15, 16 foot range where they're super heavy bodied. They can stretch from side to side and push out. You know, there's a lot of what ifs in there. You know, again, nobody's really tried it, so we don't know for sure, but it's all sketch. I honestly don't think I'm going to try it. I'm just going to build a freaking enclosure the size of my garage. Yeah.
Do it, man. It's fun. I love building. I would do it every day if I could.
So I have a question. You've been in the community for a minute, and we always we're getting to that mark where I may have to end this a little earlier than I anticipated. So with that being said, I hate ending it so early, but I got to do what I got to do, man. I got to work.
It's all good, man.
I want to keep doing this. Trust me. We'll get you back on. I'm going to get you back on again.
Yep.
But the question is, if you could change one thing in this community, what would it be and why?
That's a great question. If I could change one thing in this community, it's something that kind of happened to me too. It would be the way people approach beginners, the way people that are trying to come into the hobby and don't really have a clue of what's going on, and the way people address them. Teach people, man. That's what I try to do with anything. People come to me all the time and they're like, "Oh, that's a hybrid." I'm like, "It's not a hybrid. It's just a normal ball python." Or this. You don't need to talk down to anybody. We're all in this together. We all do the same thing. You need to learn from one another. You're not better than anybody else just because you breed something and somebody hasn't. You need to help people. And one day that person might be somebody you do business with, somebody that you do a breeding loan with. You never know. I've seen people do it already. That people that start with nothing, asking me questions that are way surpassed me, and I would never talk down to somebody. That's one thing I would change. I see that a lot, and I try to stop it. I try not to intervene in a lot of group chats and stuff like that, but I do because I hate when people talk down to other people, man. Not even just in reptiles, but that's one thing I wish I could change.
Respect. Yeah, I see it a lot in the the Facebook groups, man. It's tough.
Yep. It's brutal. And some people are relentless, man. They don't stop. There's no need for it. And I find that more often than not, the people that talk down to people really don't even keep anything. They have one or two reptiles and then they're knocking somebody else that's trying to get into it. And for what? What do you get out of that? Don't get it.
Yeah. I always advise people to stay off Reddit and Facebook, man. That's really where it comes down to.
I tell everybody, send me a private message, reach out to me, text me. My phone number's on my Instagram. I'll help you out wherever I can.
Yeah. That's badass.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. I like that positivity stuff.
Got to live by it, man. Yep.
Absolutely.
You got one more question?
I do. Out of all the monitor species that you have, what is your dream monitor to add to your collection, or pair, I should say?
I say before I die, I will have one. Well, I obviously want to do it legally. I don't need fish game knocking on my door tomorrow, but I'm gonna have a Komodo dragon before I die. I'm gonna 100%. I got to get AZA, whatever I got to do to have a Komodo dragon. If I got to move, I will have one. I will be in another country if I have to, but that's definitely the dream. I still want to be around one. I would love to just even be in the same facility as one. But
respect. I kind of saw that one coming, but I want to make sure.
I think that's the kingpin for any monitor guy. That's definitely either that or a Parenti. But I was lucky enough when I went to Ty's place. Ty's an amazing person. I said it at the beginning, but he let me go in the Parenti enclosure, and it was crazy, man. I sat on the ground, and he climbed up my arm and sat on my shoulder for 10 minutes. And I mean, that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'll probably never even see one again, let alone have one sit on my shoulder.
That's awesome, man. And, there was a comment made, and this was going to be a suggestion I asked. On the next one, when we bring you back, I know the hour is a little short, unfortunately. Things just aren't. Tonight doesn't seem like the greatest night for any of us. Technology acting stupid.
Yep.
But on round 2, how do you feel about doing a tour around what you're working with?
I'm totally down to do that, man. I'd love to do that. My only problem with that is my internet at my facility sucks. That's the reason why I'm here tonight. So I'd have to do like a trial run with you, make sure everything's good, but I have no problem doing that. I'd love to do that.
Awesome. Yeah. That's like the one thing I'm like, I want, like in my head, I'm like trying to picture all the things. Because I mean, I was looking at your enclosure behind you, trying to figure out what was going on. And yeah, it'd be incredible, man.
Yep. Hopefully next time, what we're trying to work on is the building that we're trying to get. I shouldn't even be saying this much. I'm going to knock on wood now, but the building that we're trying to get is 14,000 square feet. So it would be massive, and I hope to be kind of set up when we did it again there, because it would definitely blow some minds. The ceilings in that place are 25 feet tall. So,
oh, shit. Okay.
Hopefully, we'll see what happens. I'm probably jinxing myself by saying it, but hopefully in the next year or two that comes to fruition.
Yeah, you got to speak it into existence, man. Positivity.
Yeah, no doubt.
Speaking it will become true.
Yep. Keep telling myself it's going to happen, hopefully.
It's going to happen, bro. It's going to happen. Just like we're going to make this happen, it's going to happen.
Oh, you guys are definitely going to make this happen. I've seen the work that you guys have been doing already. Amazing stuff. That one with MJ was awesome. It was very cool to watch.
I appreciate that, brother.
Shit. Hold on. I don't know if you know JTK.
Yeah, I know, Brian. What's up, man?
Yeah, hell yeah. That's my boy.
What's up, bro? He's another monitor guy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, he is.
Yep.
Man, we got to bring you two on the same damn panel. That's got to happen.
Yeah, you got to get Mike. You got to get Mike Stefani on here too.
Hell yeah.
Pick his brain. He's a man of knowledge too. Brian and him on the same podcast would be crazy. Forget me. Just get those two on.
Hell no, we're gonna bring all y'all back.
Hell yeah, let's do it, man. Set it up. Let's get something going. Do a tour and multi-panel live. That shit would be incredible.
That'd be nuts.
What sucks is that I'm gonna have to end it now, guys.
Yep.
And appreciate you guys for jumping on.
Thank you. It was fun, man.
In the comments, and we gotta do it again, bro. I hate to cut it short.
No,
like I said, if not, we could probably do it tomorrow morning. Run it back.
Okay.
Another hour or whatever you want to do.
I could try to do it tomorrow. I have work tomorrow, but I could try to make it happen, man. Try to make it work.
Yeah, just let me know.
I'll text you.
Just let me know. I'm gonna try to just like get the days off now, because it's a hassle here at work, bro. I just gotta put the days in, just request them off.
Yep.
On that note, I don't know. You got anything else, Levi?
No, shout out to everybody in the comments. Again, we apologize for having to cut this thing shorter than we normally do. Shout out to the guest. Everyone go show Nick some love. Follow him on Instagram. Pay attention to what he's doing. He's got some power moves coming in the future. It's been a real interview. It's been entertaining. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Super excited to bring you back.
Yeah, it was great, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun. Can't wait to do the next one.
Shout out to the sponsors.
Have a good
night. Eden's Gin and Aloha's Creations. Go follow Aloha's Creations. She's doing glow-in-the-dark stickers, magnets, shirts, everything. She's doing it all, man. Y'all go hit her up.
I see that, Brian. That'd be crazy. If you had John on here too, that'd be nuts.
But I'm going to run this and this. Y'all have a good night. Everybody have a good night. We're going to bring Nick back along with a couple of other guests. Hopefully we can make this shit happen.
That'd be crazy.
See y'all then.
See ya.
Thank you again.